I've recorded at least a couple videos at this point talking about not selling your Bitcoin to BlackRock, how the institutions are coming. Fidelity, BlackRock, ARK, etc. The big players are coming and they want your Bitcoin. And I get the impression that many of you don't really appreciate why Bitcoin is so special, why the institutions do want your Bitcoin and will pay you whatever price they can to get it, and why selling it is the absolute last thing that you want to do. This article from Forbes is titled, "A Fast-Growing 17.7 Trillion," that's T, trillion, Wall Street crypto earthquake is suddenly hurtling towards the Bitcoin and Ethereum price. Let's ignore that latter part, the Bitcoin price. Bitcoin has been thrust into severe uncertainty in recent months. Okay, first off, no it hasn't. Maybe uncertainty if you don't understand Bitcoin, but this is baby sleeping time. This is not a time of uncertainty. These times don't matter. In the grand scheme of things, the price dip and change from this to that is all irrelevant. It's all going to zero. And Bitcoin, on the other hand, is going up forever. So for the next little bit of the article, it talks about how the prices rose and dipped, and it's just a kind of a bunch of nonsense. But then down here, it talks about Franklin Templeton. Franklin Templeton filed with the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission, the SEC, this week for a spot Bitcoin ETF, joining a flurry, that's the understatement, of applications that was kicked off by the world's largest asset manager, that's right, BlackRock, in June, and includes Fidelity, Invesco, Galaxy, WisdomTree, who between them manage 17.7 trillion worth of assets. You have to realize that that's not really what matters. It's not that amount of money going into Bitcoin. It's what that signals to everyone else, because that 17.7 trillion, yes, is under control by those asset managers, yes, but you know what else happens when the big boys do things? Everybody else pays attention. So you get all these family offices going, wait a second, I'm sorry, BlackRock did what? They put what where? Oh, so, okay, I guess that's what we should do. This happens in every arena around the world. You can see it in literally everything. If a movie does something, other people try and copy it. If a technology does it, iPhones, for example, everybody else tries to copy it. So when BlackRock and Fidelity and Invesco, when they do move into the space, and it is coming, they wouldn't all be filing for this just something to do because they're so bored. No, they're doing this because they want a piece of that. And why do they want a piece of it? Let's cut to something that seems completely unrelated. Post Malone has bought Magic's 2 million One Ring card. And this is from the guy that found it. I believe he was in Toronto, Canada. When I found the One Ring, the first person who came to mind was Post Malone. I have played Magic since I was a kid, and obviously it would be amazing to keep this card. But for a guy like me, being able to sell it is life-changing. I just really hoped it would go to someone who would appreciate it as much as I do. This is my dream come true. Meeting Post Malone and him buying the One Ring from me is literally a moment straight out of a fairy tale. Post Malone, at Magic the Gathering, you have changed my life. Things like this don't happen to people like me. I guess it's magic. I am forever grateful. In the past few months, Post Malone was on with Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan asked him about that, and Post Malone's like, yeah, I did spend that much money on a card, and Joe Rogan doesn't get it. But here's why he did that. Because it's the only one that will ever exist. And you might say, yeah, but Dell, you can go over to TCG Player and get one for, here, look, it's $37 right here, the borderless one. Here's a different version for $60, $50, whatever, this one, $100. So you don't need to spend $2 million on it. Okay, no, you don't. To actually have that card in your deck and you can play with it, sure, you can spend 50 odd whatever bucks on it and get it. But to get the exact one that Post Malone spent $2 million on, the one of one, that exact version, no, you do need to spend $2 million to get it, or whatever Post Malone's selling it for now. If you've ever experienced a banking kerfuffle, to put it mildly, like I have, then there's a really good chance you already know the importance of Bitcoin, but you might have other questions. Maybe you don't feel quite as secure with your self-custody setup as you would like to. Schedule a free 30-minute consultation call, and they will help you solve whatever it is that you have about Bitcoin. Don't let a question keep you up at night. Call the Bitcoin way. At this point, I imagine you're wondering at least two things. Those are, what in the world happened with the banking story? What does Magic the Gathering have to do with this at all? And number three, so why in the world does Fidelity and BlackRock, why do they actually want that? Let me go through these. First off, why does BlackRock and Fidelity and all the big players, why do they want Bitcoin? Here's why they want Bitcoin. This one's from @BTC Salvation. He says, owning one Bitcoin is rare. How rare? Is it rarer than the Magic the Gathering card? No, it's not quite that rare because there's only one ever in existence of that. But here's how rare it is. It's like owning roughly 25 pounds of gold, or 107 acres of land in the US, or roughly 1,754 acres of land in the world, or roughly 6.7 houses in the US, or roughly 109 houses in the world. And what has BlackRock been buying? It's homes. What has Bill Gates been buying? It's farmland. What do the people in power, what do these large players in the financial space want? They want, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't figured it out by this point, I'm not sure what to tell you, but I'll tell you, they want scarce assets. They want the things that there is only a limited amount of. And what will there only ever be 21 million of? Bitcoin, that's right. There will never, ever, ever be more than that.
Well, what if somebody else forks it and they make a whole new thing called Bitcoin too?
They've done that. It's trash. It's garbage. It's going to zero. It's all going to zero. You can only find perfect digital scarcity once. It's not possible to do it again. Anything else that's a copy of it is... Oh, I already told you what it is. It's a copy of it. That's what it is. You can't do it again. Bitcoin is true digital scarcity, and anything else that comes along after it is a copy. So now what does this have to do with Magic the Gathering and rare things and scarce things? And well, let's jump over to something else that seems completely unrelated.
I've had hedge fund managers like reach out to me on LinkedIn to be like, hey, like, could you talk to us about TCGs? Like, we want to know how they work. Like, that's an experience that I'd never had before.
Do you see it yet? Are you starting to understand? Am I painting the picture clear enough for you that the powers that be, how much of the pie they want? They don't want the tin. They don't want the crust. They don't want that nice top with the different funny shapes cut in the... They don't want the juicy filling. They definitely don't want the bottom. No, they want the whole damn pie. Every last crumb. Every single little iota of the pie. If that includes card games, hedge fund managers are going to call card game designers and ask them, how can we get in on that pie? They want all of the pies. Every last one. They're going to show up to the Greek calendars and just give me the pie. Every last one. They definitely want the Bitcoin pie. Every single one. So if that means contacting old Gary Gensler and saying, hey, get this approved, don't do that. If it means contacting Jerome Powell and Janet Yellen and saying, hey, print us all of the money ever so that we can entice these goons out of selling every last Bitcoin that they have so that we control and not they, because they're just peons. They're just silly people. They don't know what to do with their money. They're clueless. They don't know. We know. That's how we got here. Clearly, we're the best players in the room. We know what we're doing with the money. We're the ones in control. Let us have all of it. Print us as many Chuck E. Cheese prize tickets as you possibly can. All of them. Trillions of them. It doesn't matter. Who cares what the debt is? It just goes up and up and up. It doesn't matter. Give us more so that we can buy the Bitcoin off of them. They keep on kicking the can down the road, and behind them, the road is crumbling. And where's the new road come from? They're just laying it as they go. And at some point, they will stop to catch their breath, and everything will come crumbling down. But guess what's under that road? Bitcoin. That's where everything falls to. Everything falls onto the shoulders of Bitcoin. And Bitcoin has some real strong shoulders. Let me tell you what. So, where does my story end? My story ends with my banking crisis being averted. I finally talked to somebody that had sense. They knew how to solve the problem. They said, yes, let me actually get you to the right department. I don't know why those 3 other people didn't do that. Got to the right department, was helped by a lovely woman who got me back access to my bank account. So that was a harrowing few hours of that morning, but I eventually did get access to my bank account. But for those few hours, it was a sobering experience to realize that I could be completely cut off from all financial access. I couldn't pay anything that I wanted. Rent was coming due, couldn't pay that. Got bills due, can't pay those. Forget about buying a coffee, which might be nice to have, or a sandwich or whatever like that. That's irrelevant. But when the bills start going, hey, you owe us this, and then we start turning off the electricity, and you don't have internet, and then you can't do this, and you can't do that, it's a real big problem. So, yes, the crisis was averted, but there is a global crisis looming. An absolute catastrophic, world-shattering, meteor-impacting the world style event coming to the monetary system. And if you don't have some heavy shoulders to fall upon, I don't know where the road goes. When the road crumbles, and if you have nobody to catch you, well, I don't know what's under there. I think it's just an abyss that falls forever. That's not a place that I want to be. Is it a place that you want to be? Nah, I don't know. But here's what I do know. If you're here on Simply Bitcoin, the chances that you don't want to be in that precarious situation is pretty good. So get subscribed, learn about Bitcoin, understand how important it is, and the answers will fall into place, and you, ladies and gentlemen, might fall upon the shoulders of Bitcoin. And like I said, this is not the first time I've talked about this, so check out this video right there where I go over in another way the institutions coming for your Bitcoin, because they are, ladies and gentlemen, they are going to try and get it from you. Guaranteed, they want it.